Welcome into Locked On 76ers Postcast. My name's Mark Farzetta, and you're on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel where we react to every big game that goes on in Philly, whether it's the Sixers, whether it's the Eagles, whether it's the Phils. We got it all covered right here on the Locked On Philadelphia Sports YouTube channel. Sixers get a big win over the Memphis Grizzlies. They do exactly what they were supposed to do in this game, and they do their big man a huge favor. Joel Embiid drops 30 points in just 23 minutes of play and gets taken out at the 7:08 mark of the third quarter, and Nick Nurse doesn't have to play the reigning MVP from that point on. 76ers starters were able to sit out the fourth quarter, and some of the third stringers were able to step up and show what they had. Right now, we're going to break it all down for you on 76ers Postcast.
You are Locked On 76ers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
My, oh my, welcome in once again. My name is Mark Farzetta, and this was a prove-it game for the Sixers. This is what I like to call games like this. Prove-it games. Very simple. The Memphis Grizzlies are not a very good basketball team. I understand that going into this game, some people, they won 3 in a row. One was against the Bucks. The other 2 wins were against the Detroit Pistons. So you're playing a G League team, essentially. You should win those games if you're the Memphis Grizzlies. 27 wins of the season. You shouldn't stoop low to a 13-win team like the Detroit Pistons, for instance. Yeah, they won those games. But they also did get G.G. Jackson to go up there and be able to drop 35 points against the Milwaukee Bucks. That right there was an impressive win. But the Sixers have been playing some good basketball. They get Joel Embiid back, still playing some good basketball. Kelly Oubre has been stepping up. Tyrese Maxey has been playing really well. K.J. Martin has come off the bench and given you some good minutes, and no better example than his play tonight. We'll get to that in a second. But the Sixers had to keep it rolling, and they did exactly what they were supposed to do. If you could fish a wish going into this game, the number one thing of 3 big things in this game, number one, Joel Embiid gets a break. I know that he's got to play himself back into shape, and I believe he will play himself back into shape. But if you could give him those 23 solid minutes tonight, and he's able to dominate for you for 30 points, 11 rebounds, a 30 and 10 plus night, his first since coming back from the meniscus injury, then you're going to give him an opportunity to rest if he has that opportunity, especially, and this is the question of the night, if you would play Joel Embiid in San Antonio tomorrow night against Wembanyama and those San Antonio Spurs. That's the question. Would you play him back-to-back nights? It's their only back-to-back left for the rest of the season, which obviously means it's their only back-to-back left in the entirety of this year, including the playoffs, including the play-in tournament, if that's in fact where the Sixers end up. So what do you say? Would you play Joel Embiid? My vote is hell yeah, I'd play Joel Embiid. I know it's a matter of a question right now because you're still playing it back-to-back. Would you risk it? Risk it. He played 23 minutes and then had an off night after playing 5 minutes of the second half. Yeah, I think he could go again. And plus, that's also going to help with the endurance. That's also going to help with the stamina. And you saw it getting to him again a little bit where I thought he was trying to force the issue a little too much early in this ball game. There was a case, and we'll go through it, right? There was a case where he came down the court on 2 separate occasions and had a wide open shot from the top of the key. And he could let it loose. He was 2 for 2 beyond the arc today. He had an opportunity where he collected the ball at the top of the key 2 different times. One, insanely wide open. Insane. I think it was Tyrese Maxey that found him. Insanely wide open. What did he do? He passed up, went for the penetration, ended up losing the ball out of bounds on the baseline. Next possession, comes down the court, gets the ball again at the top of the key, has another opportunity to just let a 3-pointer fly. Just, hey, go ahead, 3-pointer fly. Take it easy, Joel. This is going to be an easy game. You were up by as much as 27 points as the game went on. Have an opportunity there to just let a 3 loose. Instead, puts the ball on the floor again, tries to get a spin move in the lane, loses the ball out of bounds. One of his 7 turnovers in the first half. I'm the guy that says don't worry so much about turnovers. If you look at the top players, if you look at the leaders in turnovers in the NBA, it's like Luka Doncic, okay, LeBron James is up there. Victor Wembanyama is one of them, a rookie, not the best example, but you have guys that are great players. Giannis Antetokounmpo is up there as well. Great players, control the ball a lot. They're going to turn the basketball over. So I don't harp on turnovers as much as the next person. But 7 turnovers in the first half? I understand he had 15 points in that second quarter, but 7 turnovers in the first half, 8 turnovers in total. That's a bit much, okay? Now, am I concerned about it in the grand scheme of things? No, because this is something with Joel Embiid that when it comes to the endurance, to the stamina, I'm okay. He'll be fine. He'll be better than that. I'm not expecting Joel Embiid to have 7, 8 turnovers a night from this point forward, all right? So I'm not as concerned. But last time I was talking Sixers postcast, I was talking about how turnovers weren't that big of a deal. If you have 7 in the first half, that's a big deal. You don't want to do that. I would recommend not making that the norm for the 76ers. But overall, Joel Embiid, like I said, 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. He had 30 points in those 23 minutes. He had 11 rebounds in this game. And I thought the ball handling in particular from him tonight, aside from trying to drive the lane, but trying to buy a little bit of space, trying to create a little space for himself around the foul line, something that has become one of the bases of his game, he did very well tonight. There's one particular instance there in that second half where he got the ball at the foul line 2 different occasions on back-to-back possessions, dribbled between his legs, bought himself some space, pulled up, hit the jumper, and it was a thing of beauty. So Joel Embiid's game tonight, other than the turnovers, the fact that he stopped playing after 23 minutes, the fact that he was out after 7:08, never had to return after that in the third quarter, fantastic. Great job for the Sixers to make sure their big man was able to get a little bit of a respite after coming back from the meniscus injury. The second thing, I am absolutely amazed, and I'll continue to refer to him as this. He's the spark, man. He's absolutely the spark. Kelly Oubre has been every bit of that spark that you need. There was one instance in this game, in that third quarter, where out of nowhere, the Memphis Grizzlies started to go, all right, maybe they're going to make a game of this. And by game, I mean they were going to cut the lead to like maybe 8. They kept it to around 10 for the majority of the game. At one point, the Sixers led by 15, I want to say was their largest lead going into the fourth quarter. But Kelly Oubre had a situation there where all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Memphis Grizzlies started knocking down shots. They hit a couple of threes, and they made it, I think it was a 12-point game at that point. Kelly Oubre did exactly what you would want Kelly Oubre to do in this situation. He dribbled down the baseline, got an easy lay-in, got the N1, converted on the three-point play. Nico Batum hit a couple of threes for you as well to steady the ship. And the Sixers just took control. Like they should take control against a team like the Memphis Grizzlies. But the guy that just continues to jump out to me as a spark, and not off the bench as he's starting, is Kelly Oubre. And if you're Nick Nurse, there's no way, absolutely no way Tobias Harris is finding his way back in this starting lineup. No way, no how, not going to happen. Kelly Oubre has been playing some great basketball for this Sixers team, especially down the stretch. And if Joel Embiid's out of the game or Tyrese Maxey's sitting on the bench, the next man up that has that mentality to just go out there and crush is Kelly Oubre. And there was one particular instance tonight on that baseline drive that he had in the third quarter where you started to see the Memphis Grizzlies try to fight their way back in the game. I think it was Ala Abdelnaby that actually said it during the broadcast. You don't mind the aggression there from Kelly Oubre. And I was knocking this guy for not passing earlier, in the season. And when the Sixers got Buddy Hield and he'd be wide open on the perimeter, Kelly Oubre just pass up and just try to dribble between 2 guys and go to the lane or go to the rim. I like that aggression to a point, but if you got a wide open shooter, you hit him, okay? Well, Buddy Hield started to go a little bit cold, and Kelly Oubre started to come up a lot in the clutch. And in that third quarter, when he had that drive, it was a stabilizing moment for the Sixers. I never feared that the Sixers were going to lose this game or anything crazy like that, but I was really rooting for, and they alluded to it a couple of different times during the broadcast, I was really rooting for Joel Embiid does not play in the fourth quarter. Give the man that. Give the man that. And the Sixers were able to give the man that. So I look at Embiid's play, I look at Kelly Oubre's play, and then I got to rattle off these names, folks, because there's probably not going to be a lot of opportunities for me to rattle off these names when it comes to the 76ers and what they do for the rest of this season. But the names, I got to shout out. Okay? There you go. Jeff Dowtin. Okay? Jeff Dowtin. Ricky Council the fourth. Good to see you again, my man. Then you had Trequavion Smith come in there and knock down a three. And also, I think he also had a putback tonight as well. Those guys, Paul Reed had some big shots there in the paint, so I don't want to exclude Paul Reed. And then last but not least, and I know he's been getting more run than any of these guys, he's become a regular in the rotation there for Nick Nurse, is K.J. Martin. This guy is such a heads-up basketball player. All right? A heads-up basketball player. And you want to root for guys, like, it's so easy to root for guys like this that are coming off the bench. They haven't gotten a lot of run, especially since he was traded here from Cleveland. He has just come in here, and he has been exactly what you need. Just a heads-up basketball player, doesn't put the ball in peril, makes good, smart plays, good, quick decisions as well. He's aggressive to the basket. Threw down an alley-oop today. I think it was from Campaign tonight. It was great just to see him go out there tonight and do what he did for the Sixers team, especially when trying to give a little bit of time off there to Joel Embiid in the fourth quarter and the third quarter as well, when he wanted to see somebody else step up. He actually, Dowtin led the team off the bench with bench points with 11. And then right after that, K.J. Martin played 22 minutes tonight with 10 points, 6 rebounds, also notched an assist, had 2 block shots as well. Great to see that for K.J. Martin. Now, on the other hand of things here, we haven't seen Trequavion Smith. We hadn't seen since February. Jeff Dowtin, it had been a minute since we really see him out there. Been about a week since we saw him out there on the court. He went out there and logged just 14 minutes. 14 minutes of play. And came up with 11 points. That's a nice outing. That's a nice outing for him. Great to see that for Jeff Dowtin. So the third stringers, they get my applause for your 10-9-8 76ers tonight as they beat the Memphis Grizzlies. Coming up, here's what we're going to get into. The playoff picture now for the 76ers and what it looks like going forward. We got the Pacers. We got the Heat going on tomorrow. We also got the Sixers on the back-to-back. Also, if you want to jump into the comments, would you play Joel Embiid tomorrow night in the back-to-back? That's my question I got going forward. We'll get to that in just a second, ladies and gentlemen. But first, I got to get to some of our wonderful sponsors on the program. Let me tell you about Robinhood. Did you know, ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about Robinhood, you're talking about whether or not you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA. Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement, thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at Robinhood.com/boost. That's Robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal information. Claim as Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC is a registered broker-dealer. And now how about the amazing people at Amazon Fire? Fire TV is your destination for sports. From live games to highlights to in-depth analysis, Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs as well as the TV Fire Stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes as well as free and live TV, whether it's opening weekend for baseball or college basketball tournament, whatever it might be, Amazon Fire TV has got you. And how about Fire TV channels? Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us here at Locked On. Don't miss a minute. The most big pro leagues as well. College conferences also. Fire TV channels let you dive into all the game analysis, highlights, and so much more, and keep you up to date on all the latest world of sports, as well as March Madness, NBA, MLB, and so much more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, well, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit Amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. Here's what we got, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow, Sunday, is going to be an insane day for the 76ers. Here's the way everything shakes out for the Sixers tomorrow. After they notch their fourth consecutive victory, they go to San Antonio. So they notch their fourth consecutive victory tonight in Memphis against the Grizzlies. The Sixers now go into San Antonio to take on the Spurs. That tip-off will be tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in San Antonio. The Pacers last night beat the Thunder. The Heat beat the Rockets. So both teams that the Sixers are competing with to jump over to get out of the play-in tournament there, they won last night. Both teams, the Pacers and the Heat, are in action tomorrow night. Those teams, the Pacers and the Heat, play each other tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. So by the time the Sixers get on the floor, by the time the second half rolls around, the Sixers right now will know who they should be rooting for and what they're going to need to do. Now, the Sixers, it's very simple for the Sixers. Just keep winning, baby. Just keep winning. That's all they need to do. Just keep winning. But when it comes to the Heat or it comes to the Pacers, who should you be rooting for if you're a 76ers fan tomorrow night in that game? Well, as of right now, the Indiana Pacers occupy the 6th playoff seed in the Eastern Conference. They are just ahead of the Miami Heat and just also ahead by a game of your 10-9-8 76ers. So the Pacers right now are in the 6th spot. A half game behind them is the Miami Heat, and the Sixers are a full game behind the Pacers. So tomorrow night, you obviously want to be rooting for the Heat. It's going to be easier to catch the Heat than it is for the Pacers. If the Pacers win that game, well, then they're going to be a little bit further ahead of the rest of the pack. So another loss to the Pacers helps the Sixers. Sixers beating the Heat 2 nights ago, and then the Heat beating the Pacers would obviously help the Sixers out greatly. So who do you root for tomorrow night at 5 o'clock? Between the Pacers and the Heat, you should be rooting for the Miami Heat to win that game. Gives the Sixers a little bit more of a chance to crawl into that 6th seed. The Knicks are 2.5 full games ahead of the Sixers, unfortunately, as are the Orlando Magic, who the Sixers will play in 2 games, I believe it is, after they face the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio tomorrow. So that's who you're rooting for tomorrow, Miami Heat. By the time you get into that fourth quarter, really the second half of the Sixers game, you should have a little bit of a clearer cut vision as to what's going to be going on. One thing I did not check earlier is where that game is at. It's at Indy. It's at the Pacers. So they go on the road, 5 o'clock tip-off in Indianapolis. Someone else I wanted to highlight tonight that I was really impressed with when it came to your 76ers. I mentioned the guys that are coming off the bench, the third stringers, playing a lot in that fourth quarter. I only mentioned his name once, but I want to recognize Paul Reed for a second. If you're a Sixers fan that's followed this team, especially really close over the last couple of seasons, Paul Reed has come immensely far from the Paul Reed victory tour that we weren't allowed to throw him in the days of Doc Rivers. Remember, DeAndre Jordan in that playoff series against the Heat was getting run over Paul Reed. Paul Reed comes out, has himself one hell of a game, and after the game, you have good old Doc Rivers saying that, we're not going to go on a Paul Reed victory tour. Paul Reed has developed into that backup center that we were so desperate for. Andre Drummond did a hell of a job in his time here. He ended up being packaged in that Ben Simmons deal, but Andre Drummond would at least come in and get rebounds for you, and you had been looking for that solid backup center. Paul Reed has developed into that solid backup center for your Philadelphia 76ers. And if you look at his numbers over the last couple of games, he has been keeping on point with what you need from him as that backup center for the Sixers. And tonight, he gets a couple of good little bunny jumpers from the foul line with that ugly as hell shooting form, I admit, but he's able to knock those shots down. You see him be able to get to the rim and finish at the basket. You see him being not afraid to put the ball on the ground and attack the rim. These are things we didn't see even 2 or 3 years ago from Paul Reed with any regularity. But now what you're getting from him is a guy that is not afraid of the moment. And he has been given the reins as the backup center to Joel Embiid. And maybe this time that we were looking at Tyrese Maxey more than anything, just watching him take those steps forward as the leader on the team, trying to coach up a veteran like Tobias Harris. We've been focused on Tyrese Maxey. I haven't offered enough praise for what Paul Reed has been able to give this team. And you look at his numbers tonight. He's able to give you 23 minutes. He's 3 of 4 from the field. Does not shoot a 3 tonight. Gets you 5 rebounds. Gets you 5 assists. Comes up with 4 steals in the game. And in that fourth quarter in particular, when he's looking to get involved in the game a little bit more, you see him come up with a big steal that ends up with an alley-oop to K.J. Martin. All that is great. Excuse me, the 3 from Nicholas Batum, actually it was. You had Paul Reed come up with a steal late in that third quarter. Comes up with a steal at the 5:40 mark, and he hits Batum for a 3 that made it 78-65. After that, that's when Kelly Oubre took over. But just when you start to see a Memphis Grizzlies team start to get a little bit of confidence in this game, even to push it to the degree that you might see Joel Embiid play in that fourth quarter, Oubre takes over, Nicholas Batum hits those big shots, and then Paul Reed also came up with a huge steal in transition, staying on his man and making sure the Sixers were able to get an opportunity there to extend their lead even further and squash any confidence that the Memphis Grizzlies had coming up here. So Paul Reed, I wanted to take some time and make sure I acknowledge the effort and the production, because we're used to the effort. The effort's always there, but the production from Paul Reed has been there as well. So it's great to see that from Paul Reed. Coming up, there's one more thing I have to acknowledge here with this Sixers team going forward, and it has to do with the rebounding and overall moving the ball around. Controlling the ball off the glass and then being able to move it around all season long. It's been one of the best things from Nick Nurse. Couple of moments tonight, you could have got that icing on the cake and just came up a little bit short. We'll talk a little bit more about this Sixers game and what they got coming up after this. Let me tell you about Nissan. If you're not enjoying the ride at Nissan, you are missing out. Shop NissanUSA.com. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Well, our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. Talking about the Rogue, or how about the incredible Armada? The 2024 Nissan Rogue, perfect for city drives and great escapes. Class exclusive Google built-in. That is your always updating and assisting you as you're driving. Gone are the days of just roaming around, not knowing you're connected to your phone. Also, Google Assist is there for you as you're driving around with Google Maps, Google Play Store. Built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen. It's unreal. You look at the 2024 Rogue, that's a perfect midsize SUV. How about this? The personal favorite of mine, by the way, is the 2024 Nissan Armada. These things are amazing. It will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that is unbelievable. It's also seats up to 8, first-class luxury style. Tow bigger and explore further with the 2024 Nissan Armada. Take Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Here's what the Sixers did tonight that I found amazing. And we haven't seen a lot of this since Joel Embiid's been out, but he was back tonight. The possession in the second quarter that started with Joel Embiid blocking Trey Jemson's shot. It was a 44-29 game at that point. Embiid blocks the shot. They go down the other end. You see him go behind the back to Kyle Lowry, who's wide open on the perimeter for a 3. He instead dishes it back down to Joel Embiid, who gets the easy layup. I think they even got an N1 on the play. But that was just great ball movement there from the 76ers. There was another instance there where you saw the ball swung around the perimeter, almost like it was a high school basketball drill, And then at that point, you had Campaign just clank out a three. Couldn't convert. But the opportunity was there with great ball movement. You had another opportunity as the game went on where Trequavion Smith was in the game. K.J. Martin's in the game. You had Dowtin in the game as well, where they were able to move the ball around. These guys aren't playing together a lot, folks. They're certainly not getting run in these games. And you get an opportunity to get them in at the end of the game. And I swear there was a drill where the ball never even touched the floor. And they're able to get an easy layup. That's the type of stuff that you want to see in these games. You want to see those third stringers get run against a 27-win team like the Grizzlies. You want to see them be able to take advantage of their playing time. And just in case you got a little bit of run there in the playoffs, you want to know you can depend on these guys to come off the bench. Ricky Council IV is a guy that unfortunately you haven't seen a lot lately. So to see him get back out there on the court and contribute the way he did tonight, fantastic thing for him. The other thing that was a little bonkers to me tonight, and it already made the national circuit. But in the second quarter, they had to call a media timeout because the court was falling apart. It was odd enough Buddy Hield knew exactly what to do in this situation. He started jump stopping basically on the little slabs of the hardwood there to try to knock them back into place, to knock the joints back into place. I don't know how it happened, but it was in two different sections on the bench side of things, like right in front of the scorer's table. Two different spots had the floor come apart. I've never seen that before. I've seen the Sixers have to cancel a game at the Wells Fargo Center because of flooding. I've seen that. It was essentially an indoor rain delay that ended up being a full-blown cancellation because they couldn't play on the court. But I haven't seen the court come apart. I know back in the day at the old Boston Garden, back in the day, the old parquet floor, it used to come apart. They had dead spots in that floor as well. I had never actually seen the court come apart like it did in the second quarter of tonight's game. Never seen that before. That's a first. I got one comment I want to get in here. Shout out my man, Bill Colarulo. All in on the Sixers again. Glutton for punishment? Maybe, but I don't care. Damn right, Bill. Thanks, brother. How do you... It's a classic thing of I'm ready to get hurt again. It's the Joker meme, the famous picture of Joaquin Phoenix looking in the mirror and putting the makeup on. It's like, that's how I feel right now. I'm ready to buy in. I'm all in with the Sixers. Hell yeah, man. Why not? This is the push you want to see. This is the push you want to see from your Sixers as things wind down for this season. And as things do wind down, here's what you got. I mentioned the game they have coming up against the Magic. Okay, so here's what you got. You got the Spurs tomorrow night at 7. You got the Magic, and this is when you come back home. You got the Spurs tomorrow night at 7. Then you come back home and you face the Pistons. That should be another W. You could easily win out. I know the Magic are a playoff team. Fine. After tomorrow night, also the Pacers and the Heat, they face one more playoff team as the season winds down. I can't remember who they are for each, but anyway. Pistons for the Sixers at home. Well, San Antonio, and then they come home to face the Pistons, the Magic, and the Nets. No reason you shouldn't be able to end this season on a 8-game winning streak. Okay, one reason. Everybody sits the last game of this season because the playoff has already been decided. All right, the format, the seeding has already been decided. It's the only thing. Sixers got the Spurs, then they host the Pistons, Magic, and Nets to round out the rest of the season. Cross my fingers. Sixers get out of this play-in tournament, and then they just keep on rolling after that. Folks, this has been the postcast here on the Locked On Philadelphia Sports YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys checking it out. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. We'll be Locked On Phillies and Sixers, shooting to do both again tomorrow. I had the double dip today. We'll be giving you both tomorrow as well. So you're Locked On 76ers postcast right now on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Big game in Philly. You bet we're talking about it right here on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, everybody. Much appreciated. Be back with you guys tomorrow after the Phillies 1:35 start time against the Nationals. They'll go for the sweep and also to go one game over 500. Will the fight in Phils. And I'll be back with you guys, of course, after the 7 o'clock tip-off between the Sixers and the Spurs tomorrow night as well. Catch you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. See ya.